Hello everyone and welcome finally to Genuine Chit Chat. It's a podcast where we're going to help you grow through what you go through. It's been a minute since I've wanted to set this up and I'm finally here. When did I say I wanted to start it?
Well, I guess end of December, January time.
Yeah,
probably.
So it's been a long while. So basically, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Jen, I'm 24. I went through a pretty crazy situation recently in the past year, which has led me to where I am now. I wanted to create this podcast because what's happened to me, you'll find out through this episode, my whole life literally turned upside down and I found ways to get through it. I feel like I've got techniques that I just want to put out there to help other people. And I just want to speak about my story and help other people to get through certain things.
Yeah, I just feel like the kind of person that you are and like what you've been through can be so inspiring for others.
Yeah.
And just provide them with a bit of comfort that can help them get through whatever journey everyone's going through.
Bigging my head up, I love that. Whether it's mental health, physical health, relationships, just general work dilemmas, anything, just want to help everyone get through what they can go through and grow through what you can go through. So yeah, let's get into it. So, to start this one, it was crazy. So, me and Lucy decided to go travelling. We planned it for quite a while, didn't we? Like, we were going to go. When did we start planning it?
I think, so we went in September 2022.
Yeah. That feels like ages ago,
I know.
doesn't it? That's actually wild.
I think we planned it in May time.
Yeah.
So about 2 years ago.
Yeah. We had this massive idea. We were going to go to Bali, Thailand,
the
Vietnam,
classic, go to
the whole
Southeast Asia.
I'm in my 20s, going to Southeast Asia, that kind of vibe. And then we were going to go to Australia after, both work out there.
Well, the plan was kind of different for us because, originally we were going to go in September and then I had to return.
Oh my God, I completely forgot about that.
So I had to go back in January. So we were going to do Southeast Asia, go to Australia and stay with some of my family for Christmas and New Year's. Yeah. And then I was going to come back home and start my job in February.
So Lucy was going to start her job. The whole of the travels, if we ever met anyone, it was like, oh, so how do you two know each other? Like, how long are you going to be travelling? I was like, yeah, like, I'm going to be the one staying here for, ages, probably go to Australia for a year, end up working there. Lucy, she's only going to be here for about 4 months. And I'm like, oh, no, that's sad. Did the roles reverse on that one?
Oh, how the tables turned.
How the tables turned. Considering I was only there for 3 months. So, we had this massive plan about going travelling. It was probably the best 3 months ever.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Apart from the scary bits.
Well, yeah, of course. But beside that, for sure, it still was, like, from the year that I did, it was still, like, the highlight.
Yeah.
For me, 100%.
It was amazing. So, so we started off in Bali.
Well, no. We actually started off in Kuala Lumpur.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And that's where it all stemmed, as we thought, with the chicken heart.
Oh,
on the streets.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you're so right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh God.
See, this is why you need me.
Why us two get on so well, because my memory is quite poor. Even worse now. But things I forget, Lucy always just remembers. So we were in Malaysia and we went out clubbing with some of your friends from uni. Was it?
Yeah, that's right.
So I met some of her friends from uni. Went out clubbing till like 3 a.m.
And this was, bear in mind, this was what, day 3 of flying from London Heathrow to Kuala Lumpur. Jet lag was pretty severe.
Yeah. It was one of those like napping most of the day, and then you'd wake up and be like, let's go out. Yeah. So we went out clubbing till like 3 a.m. and obviously after you go out clubbing, you're like, oh, I really want like a McDonald's, some chicken, just something,
some greasy food.
Yeah, don't do that in Malaysia. So came out of the club, Lucy and everyone, we were all together, and I thought, I'm really hungry. Looked over the road, saw a guy like serving something on like a little, don't even know what it was. And I was like, oh, I want to go get some chicken. Went over there, I was like, what is this chicken? He was like, chicken heart. I was like, lovely, let me have one. So obviously got one, went back over to the group, guys, I got some chicken heart.
You got it, honestly, you got it off of, like, it was like a little cart off the side.
Yeah,
of the
like
street.
a little cart that someone just pulls up. It wasn't a restaurant, it wasn't anything. So yeah, ended up eating that. I mean, I probably only ate about 2 bits and then I just threw it away.
Honestly, I don't remember, but you tried, you like shoved it in my face and you were like, Lucy, you need to try this chicken heart. And I was like, there is no way you will get me to try chicken heart.
So I don't even know who wants to eat chicken heart after a night out, but I was a little bit drunk, okay, a little bit tipsy. So that is what happened. But anyway, that relates to the story because it was a couple weeks after in Bali, or a week after. It was the first week, wasn't it?
Yeah. So maybe, about a week.
Yeah, about a week in. We were going from... Lucy again knows better than me.
So we were going from...
Canggu.
We flew from Kuala Lumpur to Denpasar in Bali. Yeah. We went up to Canggu, had our first few days there, met our friends, Kira and Charlie.
Yeah.
And then all four of us... Kira and Charlie are a couple who had been out in Bali for ages.
Yeah.
So that we met them to all travel up to Lavina in the north of the island.
Yeah, and it was like a 2-hour drive, was it?
Longer than that. And it was through like the middle of Bali, through all the really remote parts.
And so like driving up the road, you just look out and you see all the monkeys like
and it's all these hills and there was just nothing.
Yeah, and it was crazy.
I mean, it was beautiful.
It was stunning, but there was just nothing around. Yeah, very rural. And so we started driving up the mountain. I think it was about an hour into the journey.
Yeah. And I was really hungover.
Yeah. So Lucy was sat in the front seat because she was so hungover from the night before. I was sat in the back and she was literally sitting there, like her legs up, like not wanting to speak to anyone. Yeah.
I was going to throw up.
And then we were just in the journey and I was looking out the window and I started getting this weird feeling. So this is like weird deja vu feeling, which I've had for the past 3 years, literally came out of nowhere. Like, I know you get normal deja vu, which everyone does. You're like, where have I seen that? This type of deja vu I'd get would be where my brain literally clicks and I'll be in conversation. So say me and Lucy are sitting here, it would click. I can't understand anything she's saying to me. Yeah. And I try and say stuff back and it just does not make sense.
Like
and it would happen for about 30 seconds and I'd snap out of it. Like, as in I couldn't even remember my phone. Like, when I was having these deja vu moments, I'll get more into it later, but I would be looking at my phone and I couldn't remember my password to get into it. And it used to freak me out a lot. But yeah, I'll get into that later. But the actual situation that happened in that moment. So I was having deja vu. I thought, I'll snap out of it. No, it was just going on. It was probably going on for about a minute. I remember looking out the window. My eyes were like shaking and I was like, what is going on here? And then boom, full on blown seizure. I mean, I don't remember from this bit. It was Lucy that was in the front.
Died, you remember? Yeah. So I remember we had just stopped because our driver. So we had a local driver taking us from Canggu up to Lavina, and we stopped at this little viewpoint because he said it was amazing and we should get photos there. So we did that, and then we got back into the car, and I was still feeling a little bit worse for wear.
Yeah.
But you suddenly just started making this noise and it was like I can't even like describe it. It was honestly like
go on, you could do it.
It was like
sorry, I know these things aren't funny, but I think just relating it to my own story, I know they're very serious events, but relating it to my own story, I have to look back and laugh at it.
Yeah, but I mean, as in, like, I was like, honestly, for like months afterwards, I was traumatized by the sound. Like, I was like, anytime I heard like a similar noise, I was like triggered.
No,
like,
it was doing it again.
Really scary.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, but so that noise happened. But at that point, I was like, I turned around and I was like, why on earth are you making that noise, Jen? Like, what are you doing? Because I was in the front, I couldn't see you.
Yeah.
So then I turned around, your arm honestly had like shot up, your eyes were rolled back, and then it just went into I mean, I don't know, obviously to everyone that's listening, whether you will have witnessed somebody having a seizure before, but it is hands down like the scariest thing I've ever seen, especially when you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, because you just can't control it. That's like feeling of having no control.
So at this point, you had never had a seizure before. Charlie, Kira, and I had never seen anybody have a seizure, so we didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
You started having a seizure, and it was, full on convulsions, frothing, like everything to the extreme. I mean, you don't do things in half measures, but and what didn't help,
I just love being the main character.
What didn't help as well was that we were in the car, so because you were sat upright, it was quite like you're quite contorted almost. The poor driver honestly thought that you were like possessed by the devil. He was terrified. We were terrified.
That is so scary.
Kira was petrified.
Yeah.
So then I went into almost like fight or flight mode, and I was like, right, okay, she's having a seizure. That's what's like. This is happening. So all I, obviously our driver was still driving. I was like, oh, Jen, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. Just keep talking to you. But it went on for like, honestly, a good at least 5 minutes. It was really
5 minutes.
I probably
really
yeah. So then we were in obviously the really rural part of Bali. We were trying to stop at these tiny little local doctors, and we couldn't really.
No, I remember getting out after I had no idea what went on. Yeah. Because when you come out of a seizure, you have no consciousness whatsoever.
Yeah.
Have no idea where you are, what you're doing.
See, this was
the only part
really
I remembered
scary.
Was being sick. I remember Charlie bless him. He was behind me. He was like, Jen, come on, you're okay. And I was just throwing up. And I got back into the car, didn't even question it. I was just like, oh, okay, I'll go back to sleep.
Yeah. So before you actually came round, sort of gained consciousness, the first thing that happened is you stopped having a seizure, and then you were just sort of looking around, almost like, like what like a newborn baby when they're like really interested by it. They see something and they're like really interested by it. It was almost like that, and you were just, and then at that point I was like, oh my god, like,
what is going on?
Jen, I don't know if you're coming back.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
So
it was really scary. And Kira was really scared as well. Charlie was great. Both of them were amazing. Like, both of them were so incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Charlie, he had the benefit of, being able to support you and your weight and everything.
Yeah.
Which was, I mean, Kira and I don't know what we would have done without Charlie.
Yeah.
And that was when it was really scary, because we were just like, what? We didn't know what was happening.
I mean, that's
because the seizure had happened for so long as well. We were like, has it affected
like any part of it?
Yeah, and because we were so sort of unaware, and we didn't know everything. I remember I called my cousin Dawn, who is a nurse, and her mum's a nurse. And she's experienced all sorts. So I was like, I remember I was crying down the phone, and she was like, "It's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. Just get to the hospital." Mm-hmm. So then we got you back into the car, and so then we got you out of the car. Eventually you came around, and you were very confused and everything, and you were like, I'm going to throw up. That's when we got you out of the car, and Charlie literally like had you on his shoulder, and you threw up. We got you back in the car, and you were just throwing up, and we were just like, it's okay, you're going to be all right. And then we just basically were like, we need to get to the nearest hospital. Mm-hmm. But that was an hour away.
That's correct. Because I remember after being sick, I put my head like down on this pillow, and I was just like, I don't think it felt like an hour, but I think so. Obviously I was so out of it.
You kept just being like, oh, we need.
And I just remember getting to the hospital, and they brought a bed, didn't they? Was it a wheelchair?
We got, as soon as we got to the hospital, the driver spoke to the doctors. A wheelchair was brought straight to us. We put you in the wheelchair, and then you just were like, I don't really know what's going on. Like, why am I here?
I just remember being so confused. Like, I can't even explain like the depth of confusion I had. Like,
understandably.
Mental. Yeah.
And then it was at that point I was like, Jen, do you remember this?
I remember you saying like, Jen, you've just had a seizure, and I was a bit like, what?
Yeah.
Like, so confused. Yeah. So I think I came around more, didn't I? And I got put into a room, and then I was given a blood test, but because this hospital was tiny. There was literally 2 rooms.
Yeah,
it was not big at all. There was like 2 doctors with 2 rooms. They're like, oh, what's happened? Let's do some blood tests. So we was in there, and then they came back with the results, and they're like, so basically, you have salmonella, which is why we were talking about the chicken heart. And they were like, you have salmonella, and a side effect of salmonella could be having a seizure.
Yeah, because they said that it can get into your nervous system, and then that can cause that. But then before we'd got the results, I had to call your parents.
Yeah, I don't know how you done that.
So I called your... I can't remember who I called first. I think I called your mum first. I think she was on the way to work because the signal cut out when she was on the train up.
Yeah, because I think she said she was going under a tunnel or something. Which is
and your mum is a very logical thinker. She was like, right, okay, this has happened. We need to do X, Y, Z. What steps do we need to take? And then after I'd spoken to your mum, your dad called and was like, right. I remember he was like, right, come on, Luce. Tell me the truth. Tell me straight, it's all right. Just tell me, what drugs have you and Jen taken? And I was honestly like near tears, and I was like, Jason, I swear we haven't taken anything. We wouldn't do that in a different like country. We wouldn't do that, all of this. And I was like, I promise you, we haven't taken anything. We were just drinking. We were at because the night before we'd been at Luigi's.
Yeah.
That
I mean, the whole thing was quite heavy drinking.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
The week prior to
naturally,
what
yes,
yeah.
but not heavy enough.
No, to cause
a seizure. It's not like you've never done this before. You've been on, you know, big holidays and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I was like, I promise, you know.
Yeah.
He was like, right, fine. So then he was just like, yeah, have they done this test or whatever? Just, you know, whatever they need to do it. So we did that. And they came back with the results of salmonella. Mm. And then they were like, okay, we need to put you on a drip.
A drip, yeah. But for like 2 days, two or three
days. Yeah, but they couldn't accommodate you in the hospital because it was such a small hospital. They didn't I don't even think they had overnight.
Like they didn't have scanning units or like
that's nothing.
Because I think when you if you have your first seizure, I think a thing you have to do is have a scan on the brain just to see why this like actions come out of nowhere. Whereas this hospital was so small. I think they literally had about one wheelchair which I was occupying. Like it was tiny.
Yeah.
So then they said, okay, we'll take you back to your hostel. Mm-hmm. We'll come round once a day and give you a drip. So for the next 3 days, I was just in the hostel room. And I honestly,
haunted.
It could be the worst hostel I've ever stayed in. The room was just like pitch black. There was like one light bulb.
Do you remember the masks on the wall?
Yeah, well? There was these masks on the wall, like these weird paintings. All the bedding was just like these weird flowers. And like, you know, when you just feel a bad energy in the room. And like, I couldn't really, like I was so tired. I didn't want to move. Obviously, Kira, Charlie and Lucy would go out for dinner. I was like, please go out. Like, don't just sit here with me. So they'd go out and I'd just be sleeping. But it's just so hostile, the environment. Like, it's horrible. But
I mean, thank goodness we had Kira and Charlie there as well.
100%. Yeah, I'm so grateful that they were there because that would have just been so hard, just you being on your own. But
yeah, but I mean, it was more about, you know, what happened to you, really, at the end of the day. Yeah.
But yeah, so I was just put on a drip 3 days and I thought, right, that's fine. Everything's fine. It was just salmonella. Put on a drip. 2.5 grand later is what the drip was spent. So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of think I got a little bit conned there that salmonella was an excuse to make me pay 2.5 grand for a drip that I just probably didn't need. Because I don't think I had salmonella. I was not vomiting. I didn't have a bad tummy. Like it was just, there was nothing related to salmonella. So I think it's weird that I'd have a seizure, but I wouldn't have like the tummy problems, everything like that. That's why I just don't know if it was kind of I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah, so I was on the drip and then that passed and we just got back on our travels for the next 3 months.
Well, yeah. Well, at this point, yeah, probably for the next month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah. Like
2 months.
Yeah. So, I mean, the rest of that time was great. I mean, don't get me wrong. When we got to like Ubud and Bali, I was feeling very anxious, I think, just about the situation that happened.
We had that massage.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had a massage.
I was loving it. Let me tell you, I was.
Lucy was
so basically falling asleep.
We went for a massage. But I mean, kind of weird. We were in the same room, right next to each other on beds.
Maybe thought we were a couple.
Both, yeah, probably. I mean, we look great together anyway.
That's fine, yeah.
So we were both hanging on a massage. And I don't know what it was. Like, just as she was pressing my back, I started getting really bad deja vu again. As in, like, deja vu. What I was saying earlier, I'd get it probably like at least once a day. So going into that, I'd get deja vu for like the past 3 years, and I've been to doctors about it and said, you know, what is this that I'm getting? And I get that not everyone's a neurologist. I don't know everything about the brain. It's kind of just random things. So I was like, I get this weird sensation where I can't understand what people are saying. I can't respond. And my doctor replied saying it probably is just anxiety, which I think is kind of an easy way out if you don't know. But also, I'm not like painting him in a bad way. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, and also that is, you know, you don't jump to the extremes on the first.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Instance. If you know what I mean. You have to assess from what you know.
Yeah. So I've had these for like the past 3 years, and because I was told, it's nothing. I kind of just thought, okay, this is my life. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I just have to. So if I was ever in a conversation with someone when I was out and I was having it, I would just walk away, go to the bathroom, let it happen,
I mean,
come back.
Yeah, pretty intense.
Like I would never really let anyone around me know that I was having it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I had no idea until this all happened.
Yeah.
And then when we were on our travels after the first seizure, and I remember there was one time when we were in Thailand, going to the national park.
Yeah.
And I was like grabbing us some sandwiches or something for the bus ride, and you just turned around and you just were like, Lucy, And
I was like, you were asking what sandwich I
was like, what sandwich do you want? And you were like, Lucy, whew, the banana and the tree over there with the toilet brush and the candle flicking around. And I was like, what? And then I started panicking. Because I was like, oh,
like, what you
my goodness,
about?
Can I not understand you? Is there
something wrong with me?
Is there something wrong with me? I can't understand what you're saying. So then I started panicking, but obviously it was fine.
And then I switched out of it and I was like, sorry, that was just one of my deja vus.
Yeah.
So I've had it for so long and I didn't think anything of it, but it definitely became more of a thing on this holiday because before the seizures, it would be like intense deja vu. And then it was, when we were going back to the massages, when I was getting the massage, I was having such a bad deja vu. It's like my body was getting like PTSD of having this seizure because I was like, I've not had one that's lasted this long since the seizure.
Yeah.
So I was really freaking out. And then didn't a snake come into the room as we were getting a massage? The bathroom at the end.
Yeah.
So as I was feeling anxious anyway, we could hear them going like, we could hear them like hitting something. It's just me sitting there like as if I'm not already anxious as anything. There's a snake in the room. Like I was just freaking out.
Yeah.
So that whole experience, I was like, oh my God, please can this massage end? Please can it end? Which I've never
And it was a
before.
90-minute massage as well.
It wasn't a quick one. It was just like,
I
was just freaking out. And then we went to the cafe after and I was like, had to ring my mum. I was like, Lucy, I just really don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, I know there's something wrong. Like, I just had this gut feeling that something was wrong with me and I didn't know what it was.
And it was really stressful, I feel like, trying to reassure you or know the right thing to say because I didn't know what was happening and I was scared as well. But then also... I couldn't be like, I think
it was a hard situation for you to be in
or anything.
It was just as new to you as it was to me. As in probably even more new to you because you didn't know about any of my deja vu. Whereas I was like not comfortable with that feeling, but I knew it was happening. I didn't know the reason why. But for you didn't really know that about me. So it was hard for you to kind of, when I was having my bad anxious day, it was hard for you to try and lift me up when you had no idea what was going on.
Yeah.
Like it was a bit wild. So Ubered, I was feeling very anxious. Like it was nights where I genuinely could not get to sleep because I was like, there's something wrong about me. Yeah. And I'd ring up my mum and sister and I was saying, I think, because I was Googling stuff, which don't ever Google symptoms.
The thing is, you say don't Google things, but
everyone
you're
does.
always going to.
You're always going to. Yeah. So I was just Googling, what is this deja vu feeling where I can't speak? And I was bringing up that I had temporal lobe epilepsy. So I was like, do you know what that does sound? The fact I've had a seizure... and I get it a lot, that does kind of sound like something it could be.
Kind of marry up.
So I remember ringing my mum and sister. I was like, I think I need to go and get an MRI or a scan so they can see if there's anything wrong. And obviously they were like, Jen, I don't think it's that serious. Like, they didn't do anything wrong at all. Obviously they didn't know as well. No, but
also one, they went with you so they can see what's going on.
Didn't see what was actually happening.
You don't think in the situation, you know.
Yeah. So you just...
You consider all the other factors first.
Yeah. So then we were like, do I go for a scan here and pay a lot of money or do I just fly home? But anyway, we kind of got over that, carried on travelling, had the best couple of months and then...
Did all of Thailand.
And
then all of Laos.
All of Laos, went in the hot air balloon, which was amazing.
That was amazing.
Went scuba diving.
Yep.
Which,
definitely
looking
should
back,
not have done.
Definitely should not have done that.
But hey-ho.
But anyway.
Met some, like...
amazing people.
Yeah, people.
It was such an amazing couple of months.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't wanted it any better. Like, it was just... Yeah, it was amazing. And then we finally got to Vietnam.
Day 1.
Day 1 of Vietnam. So we were walking down, so it was like we got there at the night time and then it was the next morning. So I woke up in the morning, had an awful night's sleep because we were sharing a hostel room with like 4 other boys and just us, and they had like a flight in the morning and they were so loud, you know, like you just
nature
can't...
of travelling though, isn't it?
That is just what travelling's like. But had an awful sleep. So the next morning walking around, I was so tired. So I'd never normally drink coffee, but I had like 2 coffees, which caffeine and lack of sleep and alcohol is not good if you have seizures. It is literally like triggering them. So we were just walking down the street. Me and Lucy met some of your friends.
Yeah. So at this point, there was a famous Banh Mi spot.
Yeah.
Was it Banh Mi 25? I think it was called.
Or Bano?
No, I think it was Banh Mi 25.
Yeah, like a sandwich shop.
Yeah. So we met up with my friends, one of my best friends from uni, Tara, and her best friend, Nia, who are amazing. Met up with them, went for lunch there, and then we were walking back. And to be fair, in the morning you kind of said, "Oh, I feel a bit strange. I feel a bit funny." And then at lunch, you said, "Oh, I feel like my head's floating.
Yeah,
I feel really bizarre." So I was like, "Right, we don't actually have any plans today. Let's go back to the hostel, let's have a nap and let's just chill.
Yeah.
Like, don't need to worry about it. It's all good. So we start walking back with Tara and Nia. And to be fair, I think a couple of others, I think like Matt
was there,
who came and joined us, which was a guy that we'd met travelling. And then you needed to get some cash out.
Yeah.
So you went to a couple of cash points and you were just like, they're not working. And I was like, okay, fine, we'll find another one. And found another one, still wasn't working. And then you were saying...
It's because I couldn't remember my PIN, because I was having a deja vu moment. Yeah. I could not remember my PIN to my card, so I was just like, right, let's go to another one.
And then suddenly you just go, tap me, and just go, Lucy. And then just drop. In the middle of this, like, the busy streets of Hanoi.
Like the streets in Hanoi bikes. Are crazy. There's like motorcycles.
Yeah.
The streets are literally crammed. Everyone's like sitting on little seats on the side, like so busy.
Yeah, you just drop and have another full-blown seizure.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, it was absolutely terrifying. But thankfully, we had Nia there, who has had experience working with, I think, children who suffer from epilepsy. So she's got experience with seizures, and Nia was just incredible, knowing the exact right thing to do, how to deal with it. Whilst Tara and Matt ran back to the hostel to phone for an ambulance. Luckily, the locals around were honestly incredible. I couldn't believe like their kindness.
Yeah.
They came and helped, got you a little chair, and they actually rang the ambulance, which came pretty quickly. And I mean, it was obviously really scary.
But we were lucky because the hospital I got taken to was like literally a newly
an international
built, French hospital, which had such amazing scanning units, everything.
Yeah, so it was called the Hanoi French Hospital. I think it's a private hospital.
Yeah.
But they just sort of said, where do we want to go? And I just said, where the best place. Yeah. Whatever. We need to just go now. Because bear in mind, this was 2.5 months after your first one. Yeah. It's not salmonella anymore.
Yeah, it's definitely not salmonella. Because I didn't eat chicken pot since that. I didn't want any more of it.
Yeah. So we got there, and then you came around. I remember in the ambulance, you came back around, and you were like, "Oh, Lucy, it's the chicken heart again. It's the chicken again."
It's because that sandwich shop we went to was the first day that had chicken.
Oh yeah,
and
I had a chicken
baguette. I had a chicken baguette, so it was the first time I'd eaten chicken since first seizure. And I just knew when I was lying there, I was like, I've definitely had another seizure. And I went, Lucy, it's the chicken baguette. I should not have got the chicken.
Yeah,
as if it would hit you that fast anyway.
I was like, it's gonna be okay.
Like, it would not hit you that fast.
Anyway, so we got to the hospital. They did all the checks and everything, and then the consultant came and said, okay, look, first time you've had the seizure, would have been good to have a scan, but also it's not unusual to not, but it's fine. Second time you've had one within 2.5 months, I think we should do a scan. I want to do an MRI. So we said, fine, absolutely. I
mean, bless Lucy dealing with it all. There's me just lying on the bed like this, having no idea what's going on, just in my own little world.
Yeah, I mean, Lucy's done the exact same for me, regardless. So we did that, and they said, okay, this MRI scan will probably take about 20-25 minutes. So I was sat outside. Tara and Nia were amazing. They stayed for ages in the hospital with us as well. And then it got to a point and I was like, you guys go back to the hospital. There's no point in all three of us being here. So yeah, I sat here. I had to call your mum and just say, oh, again, Tony, it's happened again. And then so they did the MRI. And then it was about half an hour in. I was like, well, it should have been done by now. They came out and they said, we'd like to do add some contrast. And I was like, right, whatever you need to do, just do it. Fine. So they did that, and then they came down, brought you down, and then the neurologist, I think, came and saw us and said, okay, so what did she say? She said
to me, we found
abnormal,
she's like abnormal activity on your temporal lobe, and we found abnormal activity. So when I got told that,
she was very careful with her
it was like a sense of relief. I was like, abnormal activity. Oh my god, it's temporal lobe epilepsy. Like I was like, oh my god, it all makes so much sense. It's like I rang my mum after, and I was like, Mum, they've just said it's abnormal activity, and I think they were all like, oh, for you, thank God, like thank God it's nothing.
Yeah, worse. And you said you were like, I'm going to be able to go to Australia, and I can get it all sorted out in Australia. It's going to be fine. So then I went outside, rang my mum, had a bit of a breakdown. I cried, a bit, and I was like, because I was just so relieved that you're okay, because it is, obviously it's really scary. And I just said, this has happened again, but she's going to be okay. We're going to get her to Australia, and it's going to be fine. Then I came back in, and the consultant who we first saw kind of took me to one side and said, "Can I just see you in my office for a second?" And I was like, "Yeah." I felt like I was a naughty school kid that was being taken into the head teacher's office to be told off. So he sat me down and just said, "Okay, can you tell me what you've understood from the situation and everything that we've told you?" So I said, "Yep, abnormal activity, epileptic behaviour, but it's going to be fine, she's going to be right." And he said, "Yep, that's all correct, except there's one more thing. We found a 5 centimetre mass in her brain."
That's crazy.
And I was like, "What?"
Like the fact that
Pardon?
It's gone from just abnormal activity to a 5 centimetre tumour.
To a tumour. And then he said, "Jen won't be going to Australia. She needs to go home immediately. We're not going to do any further tests here because it's not beneficial. But we need to get her home ASAP."
Which is just wild.
Yeah.
But I didn't know any of this. So bless Lucy, they told her this, and didn't they please don't tell her?
They said, "We don't want you to say anything to Jen today."
Which
she's too tired.
I just think that is the worst approach. That is the worst way they could have done it. Because then bless Lucy, going back to the hostel on her own, knowing that information, she can't tell me, she can't tell my family.
Yeah.
You're sat there just knowing that. That's awful.
It was really, I was really angry at them.
Yeah. And
I'm why have you told me this?
Yeah, I'm just sat there in intensive care. Just no idea.
Yeah. I mean, they told you, obviously,
just abnormal activities, but I didn't think it was anything of it.
It was totally different.
But then I was there for 5 days, wasn't I?
I didn't really. There was kind of wouldn't let you leave.
They just wouldn't really tell me what was going on, and it kind of day by day I was like, "So what is it?" They're like, "Oh, we're just waiting for tests. We'll come back."
Yeah.
And I was like,
I think they told you maybe on the 2nd or the 3rd day.
Yeah. So you're gonna have to fly home. I just don't really think it registered that it was a tumour. I was like, "Is there a mass?" Okay.
Yeah. You were saying this is what concerned me as well, is because they told you had the mass, and then you just were like, "Oh, well, it's fine," It's just a mass. It doesn't really mean anything.
I don't think I actually realised that it was an actual brain tumour.
Definitely didn't set in until you got back home.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you were in the ICU. The insurance took a long while, and you weren't allowed to fly home until the insurance had repatriated a doctor out to Hanoi to then fly you home.
And this was beginning of December, so a lot of doctors. There wasn't many around. So I think it was Christmas period. It was quite hard to actually get anyone.
Yeah. So then, obviously, managed to. Your dad also flew out after.
Yeah. So my dad, because basically we were so lucky. The next couple of days we were meant to go on the Haizhang Loop.
Yeah.
Whereas if the second seizure was to happen there,
I
don't know what would happen, because I don't know how close the nearest hospital is there or whatever.
I mean, yeah.
So I said to Lucy, they were like, basically, you need to fly home. I said to Lucy, we had everything booked, this Haizhang Loop. I was like, please do not stop your travels because of me. Please carry on. Because we had friends that she could go with, and if she didn't go with those friends, she would have had to then go on her own.
Yeah, but I mean, we did delay it anyway, and I said to them, please, can we push it back?
Yeah. So I was like, just please do not stop your travelling journeys because of me. So then my dad, which I'm so grateful for, he flew out to come and meet me so Lucy could carry on. And then we flew home together.
Yeah. I think also, your parents wouldn't have wanted you to fly home on your own.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
And I always said I'd come with you. And I remember you were like, if you dare come home right now, I'm going to be so angry with you.
I would be so angry, because it's I don't want my experience to ruin yours.
But it didn't.
But this is how the whole flip of me staying out there longer, this is where it changed.
Yeah.
So then you were out there much longer.
Well, I was like, life's so short. I'm not ready to go home yet.
Yeah, I feel like it was kind of an eye-opening experience. Yeah.
And then I contacted my job and said, look, this has happened and I just think I need some more time.
Yeah.
And they were amazing, really accommodating. So that it was fine. I could start the following September. But anyway, that's not important.
Yeah. So basically, just to skip through it a bit. So I ended up flying home. It was all very scary. I had to go and see a neurologist. So luckily my mum had private healthcare through her work, and because I'm still under 25, I got covered on her policy, which was great, because the care I got was amazing. Saw a neurologist. Basically, they were like, okay, so I've had MRI scans, and I was showing all the scans, in my temporal lobe, which is right here, where they'd done the contrast, it shows the tumour. So it was literally like a white patch on my brain like that, it was huge. And then we can't really tell what it is, but it looks like it could be high grade. Well, they started saying it looks like it could be low grade. So there's 4 different grades. There's grade 1, 2, 3 and 4. Grade 1 and 2 could be benign, so they wouldn't be cancerous. At the time, I didn't know what it was. It was all very new. I just remember sitting in those rooms, trying to listen to what they were saying, and I just had it was going in one ear out the other. I just didn't feel like it was happening to me. But anyway, my neurologist was like, so you're going to have surgery. But because it's in your temporal lobe, which is the part of your brain that's responsible for your speech, you're going to have awake brain surgery. And I was kind of like,
we were like, this is Grey's Anatomy.
Yeah, level. I was like, what? But also
Dr. Shepherd about to,
yeah, literally crazy. So yeah, I had to go in for an awake brain surgery, where I got put to sleep, and then they'd wake me up halfway through and be like, right, Jen, you're awake now, can we just ask some questions? So I think for about 3 hours, I mean, before it, my neurologist said, like, we don't know how it's going to go. Some people, they panic too much, we have to stop the surgery, we don't remove any brain tumour. Some people do well, some people, we get open the brain and realise we can't even operate on it. So it was quite scary, like, really not knowing how it was going to go.
I honestly don't know how you handled it as well as
so yeah, just had the surgery. I mean, don't get me wrong, I kind of love it because I love being the main character. I felt like everyone was fussing over me. Oh, Jen, do you want to go hit? Yeah, love it.
You
everyone
do, yeah.
Like, I did love it,
but even
like, waking up to about 15 doctors all just looking at me, I was like, yeah, go on, do what you got to do. So yeah, I had the awake brain surgery, which went really, really well. I literally was discharged from hospital 2 days after.
But also hats off to you for, I think, so much of your positive mentality and your strong mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
And that's what I wanted to create, because I wanted to like show you guys the techniques I used to get me through this whole process. And so yeah, one of the things that got me through the surgery and everything was about manifesting and visualizing. So that's how I wanted to start getting through this, because I realized, I mean, don't get me wrong, it took me a second to step back and be like, whoa, this is actually happening to me. So yeah, I had the brain surgery, done a biopsy, but before all of this, I was like, right, Jen, you need to sort yourself out. What can you do to help yourself? So when I was at home before the surgery, I had so much free time. I was looking into how I can make things better, and I've came across this thing about, like, obviously visualization boards, but it's like making it very specific to what you want. So every single night before bed, I would just visualize what I'd want, like the surgery going well. I literally visualized my surgeon saying, Jen, it went amazing. It was like, the surgery was so good. So I'd get myself into that state of like high vibrational energy.
Yeah.
Where then I would then have manifestations after that where I feel like I'm happy, and it'd be stuff like, I'm so grateful my surgery exceeded expectations. I'm so grateful, like, I've been the best patient they've had. I'm so grateful I got discharged quickly. Just everything positive. So I was like, I just want to focus on how I can make this situation good rather than
which is
feeling
honestly
sorry
like
for myself.
Phenomenal, Jen. Like, it is seriously inspiring the way that you were able to do this, because it would have been so easy for you to, through all of the chemo and the radio that you went through, it would have been so easy for you to just, sit and in bed and sort of, and also if you had done that, so fair enough. So understandable.
Yeah, of course.
But the fact that you didn't do that, went on a walk every single day, that you had treatment, everything, is genuinely phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I really like that.
No, but it is.
Yeah. It's just 'cause I want to see the positives, and it was so after that I started doing that before the surgery. Surgery went great. I was like, I need to make it to the Harlequins big game, which was 10 days after my surgery.
Yeah.
And boy, did I make it. And I had a pint of beer, took a picture and just sent it. And I was like, I've actually made it. So I was so determined. I was like, I'm going to make the Harlequins game at Twickenham 10 days after my surgery.
Because,
and I
mean, let's
don't get me wrong, I had to wear a hat because my head, it literally looked like this microphone. Like,
but let's also not, like, the fact of the matter was, what was, you had a grade what?
So, so to get onto this, I didn't know what it was at the time. It took a couple months for them to do a biopsy. And then I saw an oncologist at the Royal Marsden. Big up the Royal Marsden. Love them there. Great hospital.
Just on the Marsden March.
Yeah, just on the Marsden March this weekend, which is amazing. Then I saw my oncologist, who's honestly helped me so much through all of this. He basically had to tell me, I mean, horrible, like, it must be horrible. He had to sit me down, tell me what grade it was, what the life expectancy was, everything. So it's a grade 3 astrocytoma. So it's a type of tumour where I had a mutation called an IDH mutation in the cells of that part of my brain, which just made them, instead of like a normal tumour in a brain, like you can just take the tumour, that mutation that I had made it like grow through the brain cells. So
almost like intertwined.
Intertwined. So I can never be given the all clear, because although, yes, they're not coming up on the MRI, you can't see the cells on the MRI.
Yeah.
They just don't know if they could be
still exist.
But, after the surgery, I then had 6 weeks of radiotherapy, Monday to Friday for 6 weeks, which was draining, just going there. I mean, it was draining because it was just having to take time. I mean, I wasn't working at the time, but just getting my family to drive me there every single day for 6 weeks was draining. And they were like, Jen, by the end of the 6th week, like, you could potentially be like sofa bound, like you may not be able to like get up and do many tasks. I was like, the minute they told me that, I'm going to make sure that does not happen.
This is what I mean. The fact that you were able to take such a positive outlook on it.
Like, that's why I think a big thing is, like,
no words.
Just like, you need to see the positives, as hard as it is, and as basically as shit as life feels, you just have to realize a big part of that horrible situation is how you approach it and how you deal with it.
Yeah.
Which is why I just want to kind of use this podcast to like show people that like everything in life is not bad. Yeah, it's easy for me to say in this environment I live in, of course, but there's always a good in a bad situation. Like, every cloud has a silver lining, basically, which is what I want to show. You can get into this manifesting, visualizing, just have a positive mind where you can tell yourself, I'm going to get through this.
Yeah.
And I literally will, and I literally have. So I've just
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know what I would do without you. I honestly don't know what I would do without you in this situation. Like, it's crazy. Like, I think that's another positive thing is like, just obviously I knew I had great friends and family before, but now just seeing the support from the people around me has honestly just been insane. Like, I've never felt so loved and appreciated in my life. Like, it's just like, obviously it's a horrible thing to go through.
That's all credit to you and the kind of person that you are.
Yeah. But I mean, no, but I just love seeing how much love there is around me, which is just amazing, which is, although it was a scary situation, looking back, I'm like, I'm so grateful that happened, because now I'm here doing this podcast because I want to show people that like you can grow through what you go through. Like, you 100%. Literally can.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what you want to do, isn't it? You know, in the upcoming sort of episodes, you want to talk about
I'm going to have different people come on, speak about stories they've been through, how they've got through it. So yeah, my current situation now, I just finished my last round of chemo 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it was tablet form. It wasn't like the drip. Like, I had it very easy that it was tablet form.
Yeah, but still, it doesn't take away from the fact that you had to go through it.
Yeah, of course. I didn't lose any of my hair, which I'm so grateful for. Because I know going on the drip, the liquid form is the side effects are a lot worse. Don't get me wrong, the side effects I had were bad, like the chemo belly. Whew. I don't want to get too much into it, but like, I literally felt like I was pregnant by the end of the chemo. That is like, just the constipation, just the sickness. And do you know what I did? Every single weekend I had chemo, I would have the busiest weekend. I'd go out on Friday, go out on Saturday, get absolutely hammered, and wake up with a chemo belly. I'll be like,
do you remember when we went to the party, to Millie's party, and you were on your last day, and you said, that's always the worst day. And I had to drive us home the next morning because we stayed over. Yeah. And you had to have a bag.
I was just throwing up in the car.
Hungover, and
even my family are like, Jen, why do you plan your busiest,
because you're
alcohol
24-year-old living your best life
when you're on chemo? And I'm like, because I'm living my best life.
Nothing stops you.
Yeah, because the whole time they were like, you could be quite tired, you may have to like give up work. I was like, that will not happen.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to get yourself through it. And I know it's not as easy for everyone. I'm just very lucky that my body's responded well to the treatment. I'm not saying this is a thing where, if you've got cancer, you can change it just by being positive. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying certain situations you need to approach it with a different mindset.
Yeah, and this is the point of this is you worked at it, and you worked very hard using your manifesting and your visualization, your affirmations, that those kind of tools you found, tremendously useful.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing that you want to be able to 100%. Share with other people.
And because I was so focused on the manifesting, like I would do it every single night before bed, I was so focused on doing it. It's like you get into that point where you're tricking your brain, this is actually just going to happen. I know I'm going to be fine. You just have to keep telling yourself. Whereas if I was sat there thinking, this is going to go awful, the surgery's going to go so bad, I'm going to be so freaked out, they're not going to be able to do any of this. Like the surgery as well was actually funny, going back to that. When they were like, okay, wake me up, Jen. Can you do the alphabet for us? Can you we just want to make sure you're okay. I was like, can't do the alphabet, but I can do it backwards. ZYXWVUT then comes P.
Why am I not surprised?
And I honestly was just doing it backwards, and they were like, okay, you're pretty funny. Like, they actually like, I don't think we've had a patient like this before.
Yeah.
Which is just
and you were like, that's right.
I was like, that's right. You ain't gonna have someone like me. But I think it's because I was so positive before going into it. I knew it was gonna go well. I knew it was gonna go a lot better than anyone thought. I think it's because I had that positive energy inside me. It just went amazing.
So I guess for somebody who like doesn't know much about visualizing, manifesting, that kind of thing, what are like your top tips?
So my top tips, if you haven't got into it, because I've helped my sisters, they've been like, can you help me, like, if they've got like a certain thing, like my sister's been having exams, my other sister's been going through like breakups, whatever, or meet someone new, like just wants to get out of the situation. So the biggest thing, create a visualization board. And I learnt this, I was Googling it and I can't remember what the guy's name is, but I'll list it when I put this up. But he was like, visualization is the best technique to bring yourself into a high vibrational state. So it's like, picture 5 different things you've got coming up this year. Say you're going on holiday with the girls, the boys, your family.
Yeah.
Picture you sitting on the beach with a cocktail in hand or climbing up a mountain. Just picture that moment as you're in bed, or you could do it in the morning. Just picture that and you'll get excited about it. So some of mine were holidays. Mine was being at the Harlequins game with a beer in hand in the crowd. Like, that made me so excited. It was like, it made me, like, I literally felt like my body was like vibrating, so I was so happy. So yeah, make a visualization board and pick things that make you so excited. It could be short-term plans and long-term plans, you getting married in the future, you having children, just anything that makes you happy.
Yeah.
Just put yourself in that state where you feel so great, and then read from, I don't know, 3 to 10 manifestations, sorry. So like I was saying, mine were, I'm so grateful the surgery went well. And as I'm saying them, as I'm in that high vibrational state, they say if you're a believer in the universe, which I very much am, if you're vibrating at that high level, you're connecting with the universe. So they're going to bring you everything that you ask for. It's like asking, you shall receive, law of attraction, whatever you're saying out loud, you are bringing that into your life. So that is a massive thing that I'm very here for, is manifesting yourself through hard situations, which is why I wanted to start this, just to help people, give little tips and tricks how to get through things, and yeah, just sort of speak to different guests how they've got through things. But yeah, this is how I've got through mine, and it's how I'm in this position, sitting here with you on my own podcast, which is crazy.
It's incredible.
I would never have created this podcast if I didn't go through what I went through.
No, but you know,
so that's also a big believer, everything happens for a reason. And yeah, it is like, I'm not positive all the time. I am. I have down days, don't get me wrong, everyone does. Yeah. And I just want to say that positive people do have negative thoughts, they just don't feed them, and that is the difference. Yeah. Like, we all have negative thoughts, but it's just stop feeding your negative thoughts that everything's going to go awful, everything's going to go rubbish, you've got this, you've got cancer, that's it, you're dead, you're done. That's not true. That is not true. It's how you need to reframe your thoughts and just realise life's so short, just enjoy it, just have fun, and just do what you can, you know?
Yeah, I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to create this, and just, don't know, I just want to give people a bit of inspiration. Obviously, you're not going to relate to every single episode you hear, of course not. But I just want to, if you're on your morning walk, sitting in the bath, sitting in bed, just give you a little dose of inspiration.
Yeah. I think it's just finding that little pocket of, you know, something that helps you get through the day.
Yeah, a little pocket of happiness.
Yeah.
So, yeah, coming to the end now, I'm just going to, throughout the end of every podcast, I want to give you a little task to do for the week. So anyone listening now, just think, reframe your thoughts. So get a bit of paper and write down 2 negative thoughts you're having at the moment, whether that's work related, relationship wise, anything like that, just health, mental health, physical health. Write those situations down and reframe and try and see the positive things. For example, big thing with mine, I wasn't able to drive for 2 years after radio, which has now changed. I can drive this week, woohoo. But I would have that thought and be like, I'm so angry, I can't drive, I have to get my parents to drop me everywhere. I feel so like a 15-year-old again. But then my positive was, okay, well, I'm saving about 80 quid a month on petrol. I don't have to pay for parking tickets. I don't have to pay for services. I don't have to pay for MOTs. Like, there's all of that. Like, I'm being more sustainable because my family's driving me rather than us driving 2 cars. Yeah, saving on insurance. Just little things like that. Just try and see at least one positive out of it, and it can completely shift your whole thought on that. Yeah. So, and literally like this, awful what I've been through, that I've had cancer. Right now, all my scans are clear. So from now on, I'll just be having scans every 3 months to see whether it's coming back, which it won't be, because that's what I'm manifesting. So yeah, I'm doing great now, and I'm just seeing all the positives and just, reframing my thoughts.
Love it.
So yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us for our first episode. And thank you, Lucy, for being part of the first one.
Thanks for having me. Else. It's an absolute privilege.
Oh, I'm so happy you joined me, because I don't know who else I would have done it with. She was there from the start to the beginning.
I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, it's got us here.
No matter what.
Oh, love that.
I love that.
Oh, I love it. I do. Oh, I do. So yeah, thank you for listening. Another thing at the other end of the podcast, listen to this next song. So pause the podcast right now and put this song on. I Will Survive by Gloria. What's her name? Gloria. Don't know her name, but first I was afraid, I was petrified. That song I really relate to.
Jenny Dyson.
But imagine that not talking about a boy, talking about the cancer. Go on now, go. So yeah, finish this episode, have that queued up next, and everyone, whether it's your morning, nighttime, have a bloody great day, and thank you for listening. And
Thanks,
I'll see
everyone.
you next time. Bye.